Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Negler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels, wrapping things up here in Indianapolis, leaving tomorrow on a jet plane back to New York City. But obviously, need to chat with you fine folks, Packers fans worldwide, because that's what we do here at Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to you all, especially all of you joining me here live, already chatting it up in the YouTube chat on Facebook. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate this time I've had in Indy. It's been a short trip, shorter than usual. Back in the day, I used to stay the full week, but now really don't see the need of sticking around and watching the prospects when I could do all of that from the comfort of my own living room, on the television. Really fun stuff today on the radio with Bill Schmid. There's a recording of that here on the YouTube channel. You can check that out when you have a chance. The NFLPA annual team report cards came out this morning. Packers faring well, third overall as far as aggregate, and lots of positive feedback from the players regarding their treatment, the facilities, strength and conditioning, things of that nature. A couple of interesting points where when it came to Green Bay and where maybe they could still make some improvements. Uh, Obviously, everybody wants your family taken care of, and it feels like, okay, these guys make so much money, they should be able to take care of all these things themselves. But I tell you what, the note from the NFLPA regarding some of the suggestions from the Packers players regarding childcare on game day, it's fascinating to me because that's something that, as a fan, I'm not thinking about, obviously, but it's something that's pretty common across the league. Not every single team does it, but most teams have some form of on-site childcare on game day for their significant others, right? Take care of those kids while mom and dad are living their life, and dad is out there on the field giving his all. It just feels like a little thing that the Packers should be able to do something about, to at least kind of make a move in that regard. But overall, Packers, like I said, fared very, very well. Um, Interestingly enough, I love the fact that of all the grades they give out letter grades, right? Food and cafeteria got a B plus, nutritionist and dietitian got a B. You go down the list, and they're killing it, right? Good grades across the board. The weight room gets an A, and the strength coaches get an A minus. So, Chris Gizzy, I hope you're putting that on your resume as you're looking for a gig, because clearly you're doing something right when it comes to the players and what they're being asked to do, the program that you're putting out there. We all know Matt LaFleur has made a switch there. So we'll see if Aaron Hill receives the high marks that Chris Gizzy did next season when the NFLPA throws together their report card once again for the third annual next year. It's the second time the PA has done this, but it's just an interesting look, so to speak, at how Packers players feel about how they're being treated, how the Packers take care of them. And the one thing to remember, I saw some pushback online a little bit regarding something that was said about Matt LaFleur not listening to his players as much as maybe he should or they would like him to. You got to remember, this is the youngest roster on the NFL, in the NFL. And a lot of these guys, a majority of these guys, have no real frame of reference when it comes to, okay, yes, maybe your coaches in college, in your high school career, maybe they were a little bit more open, maybe a little more new wave, who knows? But man, I got a hard time believing that you are going to go to another facility and find another head coach who isn't at least as receptive as Matt LaFleur is to hearing ideas or maybe, letting you air stuff out. I mean, they don't know anything else, right? I do know that, Matt took, I'm not going to say a harder line, but he took a little bit more of a kind of assertive form of control this past training camp because the roster was so young, because it was a chance to kind of reset, especially with the departure of Aaron Rodgers. Matt LaFleur certainly taking a little bit more ownership. When, you guys remember when Aaron Rodgers was in town, everything kind of. To Aaron, So it's just something to think about, a little context there. But interesting. You can find the link on the NFLPA website if you're interested in checking it out. It's not earth-shattering stuff. The funny part is like the correlation to winning. I don't know how realistic that might be because the Chiefs fared extremely poorly coming off another championship. Their ownership got an F minus. How do you get an F minus as the owner of the Super Bowl champions? That's upsetting if you're a Kansas City player. That is not great. Hello to everybody in the comment section. Hope you're all doing well. Soder's here. Of course, Soder's here. Nagler, did you meet any NFL royalty today? Joseph, I work with NFL royalty and Bill Schmid. No, I didn't meet or see any NFL royalty today. But I did see a lot of people that I know, a lot of folks that cover the league, a few coaches, some personnel guys. I ran into Richmond Williams from the Packers last night. Good to say hi to him. But yeah, no, nothing insane. Ed, what's going on, man? Do teams worry about spying from other teams, or are they so focused on trying to get the right players that they don't have time to worry about other teams? I'm not quite sure when you're talking about there, Ed. Spying, when would this spying occur? I mean, are we talking Spygate? That's pretty wild, well covered territory. Focus on trying to get the right players that they don't have time to worry about other teams. I mean, kind of, but you got to remember, like, a lot of these guys who are on personnel staffs, and I've talked about this before, they know each other. They're, it's not like you cut off all communications with guys that you know, and most of these guys know people all over the league. So there's some chatter, and you might get an idea of what teams are thinking that way. But for the most part, yeah, you're grinding and you're trying to do your job and you're trying to make sure that you've got every piece of information. You're much more concerned about that than someone looking over your shoulder at your notes or whatever. Mike Wall was kind of pissed about Chris Gizzy getting fired. I'm not surprised. I mean, same kind of era, right? I think, as Matt said, it was time for new thinking in that regard. I'm not surprised that Matt wanted to get a new voice in the room, as he said. But I think Gizzy did a good job. But at some point, maybe the message is getting stale. It's time to shake things up. That's my reading of that, anyway. Are there any Dolphins fans in the chat room? Vicken wants to know. Hey, Vicken, congratulations. The NFLPA said the Vikings and the Dolphins are like superstar organizations when it comes to how they treat the players. So that you can hang the banner for that one. Joe, what's going on, man? Thoughts on why NFLPA apparently doesn't grade teams on type of playing surface players have to play and practice on? Probably due to the fact that that's pretty contentious at the moment and collectively bargained, as far as they haven't demanded that teams provide a safer playing surface. That's within their power, right? Things like the nutritionist or whatever at the facility and things of that nature, childcare, etc. That's not in their control. Whereas playing surface, part of the game, part of what could be part of the CBA, that is partly down to them. Matthew, what's going on? Nags, get me an O-line, then go get me another O-line in the draft. Protect Love at all costs. The most valuable asset to any quarterback is time and protection, in my opinion. Go, Pack, go. I agree, man. I don't doubt for a moment they'll be looking at offensive line. I talked to Bill about that on the radio yesterday. Last year was a very unusual set of circumstances that led to the Packers not selecting an offensive lineman in the draft for the first time in a very long time, something they almost always do. You guys know, especially on day 3. I do not doubt for a moment that they will continue to look at both tackle and guard. Of course, you guys know they like these athletic guards that then maybe they can turn into an athletic tackle that they can turn into a guard at the NFL level. We'll see. I suspect they'll get at least one, if not two, during this upcoming draft. She said, Joey, what's going on, man? Here to remind everyone that Zane Anderson is real. Yes, we actually had proof of life during the season. Zane Anderson is indeed real. Good evening from London. Good evening from Indianapolis. Hope you're doing well, Dale. Good to see you, buddy. Lambo Leo, how are you? You guys should do a bit comparing the draft industrial complex to the Matrix. You can play Morpheus. You have two choices. Take the red pill, and you wake up knowing that the draft industrial complex will exist forever, and you can take wild assumptions off all of their content. Or 2, you can take the blue pill, wake up in Wonderland, and know reality, that the draft industrial complex doesn't know shit. How's that? That's my audition for the Matrix remake with the draft industrial complex. O-line is a strong need. I agree. I don't know if it's like top of the list need, but it's a need, no doubt about it. Dustin, how you doing, man? Hey, Nags, just got back from Belize, and you wouldn't believe it. Even down there, they know the Bears still suck. It's a global theme. Hope all is well in Indy. Dustin, it is a worldwide chant. Every Packers fan across the globe is under, no illusions that the Bears still suck. this is something we carry with us along with the G wherever we go. What else we got here, folks? What if I told you the Bears still suck? If Joey B becomes available due to cap problems, do you throw a first or second round to the Chargers to get him? I don't. I doubt the Packers would. You got to remember in these situations, like the contract is part of it, and he's going to command a pretty penny. So yeah, no, I would be actually, I'd be pretty shocked if the Packers move that way. Um, they're always in the conversation, right? But that seems like a pretty aggressive and expensive move. Joey, thanks again, man. Goot talked about trading for a player. Maybe here's an idea. Justin Simmons, safety for the Broncos, I'd say would cost a third, but he's very, very good. I like him as a player, and you're right. There's a possibility that they explore that kind of scenario, right? That they try to work a trade for a player to come in and maybe fit one of these needs, especially at safety where you think they're probably going to have to double up. A third is, a legit possibility, especially when you consider the fact that they have 2 second-round picks. That gives you a little bit of a cushion as far as you're not going to, lose that much as far as number of players. But I think a third is probably a bit rich. Maybe if it's a day 3 pick, but I doubt the Broncos would give that up, and that's probably why that deal wouldn't happen. But that's, just me throwing it against the wall. At least we're not talking about moving Romeo today. Hey, look, someone had an idea. Wasn't a very realistic idea, but they had an idea, and we welcome all ideas here. You know that. Hearing rumors of possibly trying to draft Brillan Allen, do you fear he could be the next Ron Dane? Frostbog, first of all, I mean, I haven't heard any rumors, but I've certainly heard and talked to people who think that makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers at least looked at him on day 3, probably late day 3. I do think he'd be a pretty damn good complement to what they're doing with Aaron Jones and the running game in general. But, we got a long way to go. Let's see how he tests. I think the tape is good. I think he's a really good all-around back. I don't think Ron Dane has much to do with anything when it comes to this young man and his game. I know they went to the same school, but that's where it ends, right? I'm not too worried about any of that. From scouting the Packers, I think organization has to draft O-line first round. I think it's a possibility. I think the 25th overall pick is absolutely in play especially for an offensive tackle. And if there's good value there and there's a guy they like, that would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. Frostbog, no problem, man. Don't forget to let the Jets guys know that the Packers won the trade. LOL. Appreciate the content. Lucas, ran into a couple Jets folks last night, actually, and I was absolutely verbose in that subject. No question about it. There's little doubt in my mind that every Jets person here is going to hear something about that over the course of this proceeding. Speaking of the Jets, I love the fact that, their GM, Joe Douglas, was slated to appear at noon today, right over here, a little across the way here at the Combine. And the assembled media gathered for what was, announced as a noon press conference. And we sat there waiting until 12:25. 25 minutes late and not a word, not a sorry guys for keeping you waiting, nothing. You know how the Packers run on Lombardi time? It's pretty clear the Jets run on Rich Kotite time. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mimsy, what's going on? Last combine until the Packers pick last. If you know, you know. I actually tried to joke with Gutekunst about that in the private session with the local beat. He didn't go for the bait, though. But yes, drafting last in Green Bay, 32nd overall next year, 2025. I am all about this life. Let's do it. Joey, thanks again. We all know MVS will be a Jet. Yes, MVS being, the report out there that he's being released by the Chiefs that dropped this morning. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets took a flyer on him. I mean, we all know the Aaron Rodgers connection, but I do think he would help that offense. And I think Rodgers would probably love to play with him again. I think obviously it's all about the contract, how they can work that out. I did have a couple people, even though I tried to preemptively strike on Twitter, ask me if the Packers reunion would be possible, and that's a big no. The Packers won't be going down that road. No. Next, adjust your hat if you've heard some juicy news that you can't share yet. Hat's staying right where it is, man. It's funny you should ask that because I was out last night quite late. at a spot where most years I have found something out pretty, I don't know what juicy is the word, but pretty decent info, right? Because a lot of times there are a lot of NFL people hanging out. And like I said, there were a few last night, but man, the bloom is off the rose when it comes to hanging out at night and finding NFL people. They have seriously shied away. So many coaching staffs are staying away. Personnel people aren't as active because they're working, right? They got early workouts, they got earlier interviews, etc. It used to be you could go out and just run into nothing but team people, like not just Packers, but all 32 teams. And like now it's lots of media people. And that doesn't mean there's not good stuff to get, good networking, good information, maybe little tidbits of news, but man, the NFL people are not as prevalent as they used to be here in Indy this week. Take lots of meetup photos tonight. I will, Soder. If you're in the Indianapolis area and you're listening to me right now, I will be at the District Tap on Meridian Street, downtown Indianapolis at 7:30 p.m. My buddy Tom Grossi will be stopping by as well. So come on out, have a beer, talk some ball. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mario, thanks for the super chat. I want the Niners week 1. Ooh. Damn, coming out the gate, man. I don't mind that, but I much prefer the idea of going down to Brazil to take on the Eagles on Friday night, week 1. That's my dream right now. I am begging the NFL gods to make that happen. And you look at the kind of teams on offer, that's a legit possibility. That is a legit possibility. And I'm really hoping that works. Estime is a beast for Notre Dame. I really like him. Would not hate to see him in a Packers uniform in 2024. No question about it. We got here. Aaron, just FYI, you are not allowed to have a favorite player you'd like the Packers to pick this year. No jinxes. James, what's funny is there's someone above you in the chat who is literally asking that question. That I am ignoring it for that exact reason. Because if I say it out loud, it guarantees that person will not be a member of the Green Bay Packers, and I am not absolutely decimating those chances this year. Hey, Nags, adjust your hat if the Bears still suck. There we go. What did Goot and the organization do during these past few days? They start having conversations with some representatives, some agents. Brian talked about, getting to see Jordan's people. And obviously today, the news that they adjusted Preston Smith's contract. He'll be making roughly $10 million, though the incentives could drive it up to 14 if he hits them. But like those are the things, right? They restructure Rashawn Gary's contract yesterday, probably right after he got done talking to the media. So yeah, lots of meetings with agents, lots of conversations, trying to figure things out contract wise. Maybe some stuff with other teams, though. Brian indicated that probably won't start this week. He'll probably start getting calls closer to the draft, but conversations with outside entities and lots of those kind of things. Cheeto, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Wife told me she'd quit her dietitian job at our university hospital in Iowa for a Packers nutrition position. I want to be Banky's neighbor. Well, get on it, man. Get on LinkedIn. Maybe they've posted the job there. I don't know. I don't even know how you'd go about applying for the Packers dietitian job, which I don't think whoever's in charge of that right now is in danger of losing it anytime soon because they graded well in the NFLPA report card. Michael says, glad Preston will be back this year. I'm right there with you, man. He is a really good football player. Everything he does from a leadership standpoint to his play on the field, he's an absolute gem. Probably a bit underrated in the eyes of some fans, but I understand that people want every guy to be like a lights out pass rusher or an absolute highlight machine. But man, Preston Smith brings it down in and down out. He always answers the bell. The guy's missed one game in his entire career, and he plays at an extremely high level every single week. So is he the flashiest dude? No. I am fascinated to watch and see what he looks like with his hand in the ground in these 4-3 base looks. That will be kind of interesting. Brody, thanks for the super chat. Most likely position to be targeted by free agents? You mean for free agents, Brody? I'm Ron Burgundy. I think safety is a good bet. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in a vet of some type, a la Adrian Amos a couple of years ago. That would be my guess. Nagler, can teams do longer interviews and whiteboard sessions with prospects at the college pro days? I don't think so. I think there are still very similar rules in place. I don't know. I'd be lying if I told you I knew the exact parameters, but it's still regulated in some shape or form. Soder, you remember who was absolutely. Preston is solid. Yes, he is solid. I'd love an Amos type signing. Brody, I think that's the type of signing you should be expecting. I couldn't give you a name. I, don't have any inside information, but that's the kind of thing where you want to kind of augment a position that's pretty precarious at the moment, especially prior to going into the draft, right? And boxing yourself in a position of need, having to desperately find one, rather than, okay, we can, if one falls to us and we have the, obviously got the draft ammo, so to speak, and it makes sense from a value pros, like that is the most likely scenario, because Goody, as we've seen year in and year out, he likes to make sure he's not boxed in come draft weekend. All right, buddy, I'm going to have to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. Go Pack Go.